What are dimensions? As we look around, we find mesmerizing plains, water, tall mountains, green grass, and whatnot. Everything we see is our perspective, which is limited. It is limited by our capacity to see, visualize, experience, and even thinking. We have been given a horizon beyond which everything is unimaginable. How can that be? Something we cannot even think of? Today, we will talk about dimensions. Dimensions are measurements of the universe in terms of width, depth, length, breadth, or height. We've always heard that we have three-dimensional space. But what does it mean? Is it possible to have more or less than 3 dimensions? We'll get to our three-dimensional space. Let's start with one dimension. Hypothetically, if there was a one-dimensional universe, it would just be within a dot. A simple dot. A being living within a one-dimensional world would also be a one-dimensional being. And it will not be free to move, since there's nowhere to move to. Interesting thing is that it won't be able to even imagine what a two-dimensional being would look like, yet alone a three-dimensional being. Two- and three-dimensional beings would be able to observe a one-dimensional being, but it can't be other way around. Similarly, add direction to a one-dimensional being and it will transform into a two-dimensional being in a two-dimensional universe. It can be shaped like a dot or like a line or even a curve. It would be free to move in both X and Y axis. In its movement, it cannot even think of the possibility of another dimension. It would be able to see one-dimensional beings but wouldn't be able to see three-dimensional beings, since it cannot even know about their existence. However, a third-dimensional being like ourselves will be able to observe and interact with that two-dimensional being. Now comes us, three-dimensional beings. Suddenly, a two-dimensional being has risen from the plane. A brand new axis, or z-axis. Everything we see is a three-dimensional thing. Even paper or something as thin as ink writing has some extent of z-axis mixed up. We have planes, mountains, planets, stars, galaxies, and whatnot. Entire universe made up of three-dimensional things. But, like other scenarios, we don't know what fourth dimension would look like. We are unable to imagine that. It is like it is the end of our horizon. Some intellectuals see time as the fourth dimension. Some see gravity differently. But the answer remains the same. We don't know. We hope to have answers beyond our horizon someday. Until then, this was all we know. Give your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this journey.